All right, good evening, everyone. It's Young Link Jr. So I just want to do a review of the Autobiography of Malcolm X, as told by Alex Haley. Man, wow, this was a very powerful book. I really enjoyed it. It kind of, I had a lot of respect for the people in the Nation of Islam, especially with Malcolm X. You know, when he decided to dedicate himself in learning, like when he made that transition when he was in jail, right, for robbery, and he made that transition to actually self-educate himself. Like he took the initiative to go to the library. Like so many people, especially in this 21st century, man, you got people, they use that victim mentality. They're like, man, I'm doing time. I'm not going to educate myself. What's the point? Like they so down on life, and people don't want to get into self-development. You got a lot of individuals that say, hey man, forget this, like I just want to, hey, I'm part of the system, whatever, I don't see no way out, I'm not going to get into a new form of religion or anything. And what he did was, it's just like it was a divine intervention. I mean, he had people like Reginald, which was his brother, who introduced him to the Nation of Islam. And he noticed that he was kind of illiterate in a way. Like, yeah, Malcolm X was hustling in the streets and he was known as, Detroit Red, which was an interesting nickname, man. But he was hustling and, getting these women and stuff like that. And, just a natural born hustler. But he realized that he didn't finish, that the eighth grade like that. He even get into high school and finish, man. So you think about this, man, of a guy who has a little bit of education. He didn't really know how to read that much or pronounce words, or he had a low comprehension skill level. And what he did was he read a lot of books. He read a lot of Greek philosophy, and he just had people like different professors teach him about the English language, and he had the ability to write letters. And I remember one time in the book when he stated that when he was trying to connect with Elijah Muhammad at the particular time, Elijah Muhammad was like one of the initial founders of the Nation of Islam for the black man. And he tried to educate himself about the legacy, the history of the black man, why we're in America, why we as black people in this state right now, the white man's the devil, little things like that, man. And he compared his situation and compared to like what people are going through with Jim Crow. I mean, you got to think about this too during the civil rights era. Like this was very crazy. And so he read so many books, man. He educated himself, got out, and he just became a man. And he met his wife Betty, and I don't know if he had otherwise, but Betty, and he had like three daughters though. And back during for with the mosque, and he just pretty much like was an ambassador. He was one of those prominent ministers for Elijah Muhammad. But the crazy part is too, because I'm not gonna do like a whole review, because I did that. You can say that I'm saving that from my other video. But what was interesting enough, like as I was reading this book close to the end, so with Elijah Muhammad, man, like when JFK was assassinated back in 1963, people said it was Lee Harvey Oswald, but I think it was a conspiracy. Like it may be like other assassins there. But with Malcolm X, man, they interviewed him and they asked him like, okay, so what's your thoughts, about the president getting assassinated? Like, what do you think about this? Like, did you think it's a turning point in the nation? And he was like, hey, the chicken came to roost, and along those lines. And when he said that, that hit media press. People took his words out of context. But what it was his thoughts, I believe. The reason why Malcolm X said that, he was like, remember, regardless of like, it's sad that this happened, but at the same time, though, I mean, our people are not in power. Regardless if he was in it or not, like, he didn't do anything. Like, what did he do for, the African American community? Like, we still have like little things that we need to go through, that we have to go through. Like, we don't have any type of like resources. And he really was talking about this too, like, that as black people, we need to vote in blocks, meaning that we have to have some type of connection internationally with Africa. You got the Jamaicans, got Jamaica, you got Chinese, got China, Russians got Russia. What about us? We have to have a extreme connection internationally. But he said Africans in Africa, they probably don't want to be on our cause because we don't even know what we want. And they would be too embarrassed to actually financially help us, get some political change and some power if we don't have a set agenda. And I mean, it was just so deep, man. So, but anything, Elijah Muhammad kind of isolated him from the Nation of Islam, saying, we didn't really like. I mean, because it was the pressure from the press, but they didn't really like his thoughts process and the things that he said. He kind of embarrassed the nation, and yeah, man, he just pretty much cut ties with him. And this was crazy because every debate, Harvard debate, college debate, Malcolm X always, I even recently watched some of his old videos, but he always mentioned Elijah Muhammad, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, before he ended up giving up his thoughts about any type of topic. But the crazy part is he decided to go to Mecca, and I actually looked up what this was, and when he had experienced a huge shift, a huge transformation, right, in his thinking of the white man, and when he realizes that it's a pilgrimage that you as a Muslim you have to go there in your once lifetime, right? And you have to be a Muslim, and it's located in Saudi Arabia. It's Mecca, man, and so when to go there, and I guess it's a place like where people Muslims go down there and they do their prostrations, the ablutions, meaning they wash it, they do like these type of stretches and everything. Like he asked what people were mad. It was crazy. He had a one inconvenience that they was trying to keep his passport and everything, but he ended up going there. I think his wife was there with him, but his sister Ella actually helped funded him to go to Mecca, man. And he said he like really was like ignorant on a lot of things, like the culture. He was ignorant about Arabic. He was trying to teach himself Arabic. Like he had to have a translator, but what it was though, he still experienced a great opportunity, man. I mean, he was there, and he said it was white people, black people, all kinds of people from all over the world, from buses and taxis there, just to worship Allah. He said he believed there's no God but Allah, and he said it was just a wonderful experience. And I think that what he realized is that, even though the stuff that was going on back in America, he was gonna go back to the ball and go to Harlem, New York, and preach to the people about like what's really going on. And then the things that was going on back in Harlem too, like they accused him having affiliation with a Negro Rifle Club. And that everything it sounded like when a black person kills like a white person, when a black person killed black people, that had he was a follower of Malcolm X. So this is the reason why these black people are going crazy, because of him and his ideology and his philosophy. So they consider him as a danger man. And when he mentioned in his book, was kind of key, is that he already knew that he wasn't going to live a long life. He knew that it's going to be like a Negro, that's going to be hired by a white person, or a Negro hired by another Negro to take him out. I mean, the blood and the tension started to grow over time. Well, Elijah Muhammad, especially in the 1965, man. And sadly, he was assassinated on February 25th, 1965 in the ballroom, because they knew that he held public speakings and Sunday afternoon. So when he got killed, I believe that was a definitely inside job. It could be about the government, or it could be by Elijah Muhammad, because Elijah Muhammad died in 1975, I believe. But, man, I mean, he was just saying, like, man, one of the closest that he's just hate being ignorant, like, just standing around there like a little boy when he couldn't understand their language. And so that's when he dedicated himself to kind of learn Arabic, which is good, because, I mean, that's the original Quran is written in Chinese. So Chinese is supposed to be a powerful language universally. So if you can learn that, he will be set. But man, yeah, he was kind of set with the Nation of Islam. He didn't have to worry about too much of money or anything. He had property. He was doing good until then. On that comment, and it just seemed like, it was just amazing to me that Elijah Muhammad turned his back on him after he just helped him out in so many ways, man. Even reached out to him. But it was sad, man. I think he was like 39 or 40 years old. But I just want to say this book, he even said that he would be a good lawyer one day, if he would have followed through his schooling. But, as life happens and stuff, it was kind of very difficult for him. So he just put all his time in just with the Nation of Islam. But man, I had to say, this book was really good. I actually read this back in middle school, but I had to revisit, because I just love revisiting classics. But man, this was a great book. This was a solid book. This was a very solid book, man. So my next book is going to be the Lord of the Rings, Fellowship of the Ring by J.R.R. Tolkien. The first one. Yeah, I never really got into Lord of the Rings, so it's going to be my first time in a long time. But that's all I really have to say. I know this video was kind of long, but I have to say this was a really a great book, man. I advise anyone to read it. But it's your boy Link Jr. Like, comment, subscribe, share this video. I'm out. Deuces.